sometimes we don't want to be comfortable with it. Sometimes we want to be frustrated and we want to protest and we want to, every human emotion exists for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So we're happy for a reason, we're sad for a reason, we're angry for a reason. And they're all useful and practical things. If you can control your anger, it can be really, really useful and practical. Anyway, that was on my mind. Let me run through 2 ideas that I have with you. Just take 1 minute and tell me if you think
okay.
it might be practical for people. Just 2 ideas that I have because it's on my mind. The first thing is, if you want any kind of transformation, if you want any kind of change to take place, if you want to see any kind of development, if you want to move forward, there's 3 elements that you need to be aware of: time, place, and people. Time, place, and people. You think of it like a triangle where time, place, and people are, the corner points of the triangle. And success or getting the right result for yourself is in the center of the triangle, is that central point. Now, you can have 2 of the 3. You can have 2, but you won't be successful because you need all 3. You need the right time, the right place, and the right people. If you've only got the right time and the right place, but the wrong people, it's not going to work. And although we can achieve things successfully ourselves, life is a team sport. And we know when we work in companies, when we have meetings, when we're trying to move forward in business, even if you just work for yourself, like I work for myself, I know that when I'm ordering things online, there's a company of people that have prepared everything and set everything up, and there's a company that have manufactured and produced things, and there's a delivery company involved as well. So there's a whole network of things involved. And to get anything successful within that network, you need the right time, the right place, the right people. If any one of those is wrong, it's going to be very, very difficult. So people in business, and I can relate this to you, understand that if you've got the wrong people around you, it can get very frustrating. Things can slow down. You can't move forward as fast. You're not going to be as successful as you could be. So breaking those 3 things down, look at the concept of time. Who controls your time? How much are you in control of your time, and how much are other people in control of our time? Because if we want to be successful, we have to have some control over our time. If we have no control over our own time, then we'll never do anything that we want to do. So we need some control over our own time. So it's important to understand who's in control of your time. Is it me? Is it my friends? Is it my family? Is it my parents? Is it my children? Is it my colleagues? Is it my boss? Is it other people from life around about me? Is it other people from the community? How much of my life is filled with doing things for them, and how much is filled with doing things for myself? If I don't have enough time for myself, I can't move forward in terms of time. Also, with time, we have no control over the length of a second. We have no control over the length of a minute. We have no control over the length of an hour, a day, a week, a month. Time moves forward with or without us, which means that sometimes it's naturally going to be the right time. It just is. And sometimes it's naturally going to be the wrong time, and it's never going to work just because it's the wrong time. Many inventions in history, for example, people created things, but they were created at the wrong time. People didn't see the practicality. People didn't see the use. Fridges are not new inventions. They were invented a long time ago. Bicycles are not new inventions. They've been around for hundreds of years. Going back to Leonardo da Vinci, he had designs for bicycles, but it was just, he had designs for bicycles and helicopters, right? but it was just the wrong time. So that element of time is extremely important. If you can control it, great. If you can't, don't try to. Move on. Then the place, the environment that you're in. Now, this is changing for people right now because they were visiting other businesses. If they were in business, they were going to their office. Now they're at home. And the environment matters because the environment affects what we do and how we think. You surround yourself with things you like. Yeah, you got nice pictures on the wall. You probably got some plants around and some furniture that's comfortable. So that the environment is very important. Also, the environment means resources. All businesses are based on resources. What you can get as a natural resource from the earth or the forests. You know, if you live near the sea, like me, then people make a lot of money from fish, right? The industry is based on the environment. Industry is always based on the environment. It's what's there. Like if you're in a company that deals with paper products, then there's probably some Scandinavian influence because of the forests in the north of Europe, or there's probably some South American influence because of the forests of South America, where the trees are cut down to make the paper. So also with environment, we have to think about travel, transportation, climate, how that affects things, food as well. Food that's grown locally in the environment is part of the energy of the ecosystem. So the place where things happen is very important. It has to be the right place. Silicon Valley. Why is Silicon Valley important? Because it was the right place for the technical companies. All the technical companies moved there. They all worked together, had a great synergy, and were successful. If just one of those companies had been based somewhere else, if Dell or Apple or Microsoft had been based in Košice, right, and not Silicon Valley, they wouldn't have had their success. And also on a personal level, in terms of place. If a person is having a bad time, if they're depressed, if things are not working for them, they need to get out of the circle that they're in. They need to change their place, which is why I've said to personal clients in the past, it's time to go to another country for some of them. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, you're not happy. You're surrounded by a group of bad people. Your family don't understand you. Your friends are not helpful. Your colleagues don't care. You're going to get stuck in the same job for the next 10 years and you'll be just as unhappy. The best thing to do is work for a year, save up money, buy a ticket and go somewhere. It doesn't matter where. Do it safely and practically and logically. Don't take too many risks, but changing place changes opportunity. So that's important. And the final thing is people. And this is probably the most obvious thing, but the success that we have is determined by the success of the people around about us. If everyone around about us is a failure, they don't succeed in what they do or has a negative mentality, that will pull us down. So we need to ensure that the people around about us are not just positive in what they're doing for themselves and in their job and in their role in their life, but they're also feeding that positivity into us as well. We have to, I made a note here, I've got a little note here. The people that surround us are different from us, but they still affect us. So we have to think about their plans, their agendas, their experience, their needs, their skills, their wants, and their abilities will all affect us in our life. So if we don't surround ourselves with the right people, we're not going to have success either. So time, place, and people are key elements. And then we have to ask ourselves, how much are we in control of those elements? How much am I in control of my time? How much am I in control of my place? How much am I in control of the people that I have around about me. And if I have some control over it, I can make choices in my life. And if I can make choices in my life, then I can go forward. I can take the risks I need to take, and I can go forward. That's one element of several elements that I think might be useful to people. I think that when something's not working, you need to analyze what's happening. Like if let's take the example of a machine breaks down.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing you do is you look at the little parts of the machine and you try to find out where the mistake is. It's the same thing that we have to do in a production process, same thing we have to do in a company, same thing we have to do in our lives. And the analysis element is the question of what is wrong. What is wrong? Is it something wrong with the time? Is it something wrong with the place? Or is it something wrong with the people? Think about property. The famous words of Donald Trump: what makes a property a great property? Location, location, location. Yeah. The other elements are basically unimportant because you can change them. You can change the design of the building. You can change the employees, but you can't change the location of your hotel. Once you decide to build it, that's it. You have to be all in to that area. Yeah. If you want to build a casino, Las Vegas, because that's where the people go. If you want to sell surfboards, somewhere next to the sea is probably you don't want to do it in Slovakia, right? Because it's the wrong place to be selling surfboards. I imagine. So that refers to place as well. So location. It's important. But the analysis of the problem begins with looking at, okay, it didn't work. It didn't work. Okay, why didn't it work? Is there something wrong with the place? Something wrong with the space? Something that doesn't work in that space, that place? Is there just a bad vibration? Is there just like a negative feeling about it? Does it frustrate people? Is it because there's nowhere to park and everybody gets angry because there's nowhere to park their cars? Right? It can be a not obvious problem in that context. So look at the place or look at the time. Is the timing right or wrong, good or bad? Are we selling summer products in winter products in summer? Are we getting the seasons wrong? Are we trying to sell umbrellas in somewhere where it doesn't rain? Whatever. Are we trying to sell fridges to Eskimos and etc. So that relates to place, or maybe it's the people, and that's the hardest element because people don't change. If the problem is with the people, the problem will always be with the people because people don't change. We either have to learn to live with the problem or change the person by meaning swap the person for somebody else, which is what we do with our relationships with people. We make the decision in our head. Am I happy to live with all the things I don't like about my partner? Because I don't just my experience, the absolutely completely perfect partner, I'm not sure that exists. I'm not sure because I haven't had that experience. I've heard people say my partner is absolutely perfect, and I'm sort of thinking, well, okay, maybe now, But fast forward 10 years or 15 years, when you grow in different directions, maybe it'll be harder. Maybe it'll be easier. I don't know. But it's a decision we have to make with our personal relationships, which is, am I happy to live with those problems, with the things that I don't like, or do I decide to try to change everything, both of which have huge consequences? A lot of people not prepared to stay with one person and make the commitment because it's difficult understanding that you can't change another person to be the perfect person. I think that you always want them to be, because people are perfect the way they are, even when they're not. Sounds like a contradiction, maybe sounds like a bit emotional rubbish, but people are the way they are because they like themselves in general. So there, or they need to do more self-reflection and work on their own skills, which again begins with looking at the time, the place, and the people. How much control do I have over my own life? So there. Give me an example of a problem that is not related to time, place, or people. They're just as a, I'm just thinking, Well, time is the thing that we have least control over. Right? When you're 20 years old, you're 20. You're not 30, you're not 10, you're 20. It takes exactly 20 years to become 20 years old. You can't do it faster, you can't do it slower.
Yeah.
And so that's the most frustrating element, because we don't have patience as people. We want things now. We're so used to the instant click now culture that we're not prepared to wait for the right things to happen at the right time. And so time is the hardest thing to control. People don't change. You can try to control people. You can give them roles and titles and jobs and responsibilities, but people don't change. Understanding that, that's the core of human resources in firms. Understanding that if you have the right person in the right position, nobody will stop you. But if you have the wrong person in the wrong position, think about football teams, get the wrong person in the wrong position, you can lose the game. So it's absolutely vital. That's why companies spend so much on human resources. It's absolutely, and as we both know, they get it wrong sometimes. Yeah, they get it wrong. And so that leaves place. And the fastest way to make any change anywhere is to change the place. To change the space that you're in, to change the place where you live, to change the venue of an event. That will change basically everything. So it also takes time for that to happen as well. If there is something or some problem that doesn't fit into the triangle, if there's something that needs to change or something that needs to happen that doesn't fit in anywhere, if you can't map it to that problem, the only solution that I have found, and it could be lots more, I don't know, I'm only one person with one experience. The only solution I have found if something does not fit into that problem is the principle of bring it forward, which means forget about everything that is normal that you would normally do. If there's one thing that's the issue, you take it to the front of the line and you deal with it first, and you deal with it right now. Which means if you have a list of 10 things that you need to do tomorrow, or 3 or 20 that you need to do tomorrow, and one of those things is a bigger issue for you than all the others, then you forget about all the others and you take that one thing and you focus on only that one thing and you do only that one thing and you don't do anything else until you've done that one thing. You bring it forward to the front and you deal with that issue. You don't let it go. You don't procrastinate about it. You don't say, I'll wait and see. You bring it forward. If there's a call that you need to make that you're not sure, or it's a hassle or a problem, then you take everything that's normal that you would normally do and you put it to one side, and you don't do that until you do that call first. And you make that the number one thing that you do. You do it before you go out. You do it before you have breakfast. You do it before you take your daily exercise. You do it before you do anything else. And you make, because the only thing that you can ever be sure about that you will be successful with is the first thing you do. Because everything after the first thing depends on the first thing. The first thing you do, it's like 100% sure it will happen. The second thing you do, it's 90 to 95. The third thing you do, think about as you go through a day. As you go through a day, what you do first, you are 100% sure that that's going to happen. What you're going to do at the end of the day, you may be 30, 40% sure that's going to happen, because that's further away in terms of time, and things can happen between now and then to stop that from going on. So if something doesn't fit into the triangle, you have to take the one thing that's the issue, the one thing that's the problem, bring it forward and make it the only thing that you do. Because you'll be able to do the other things naturally. It'll happen naturally. You'll get to them because you always get to them, right? But if there's an issue, if there's a problem, make that problem the first call you make. Make that problem, the first person you speak to. Make sure you deal with it right away. And then you'll have much more clarity on what it is. Because human procrastination, as I know from my own experience, when I say I'll do it later, I'm just not meeting the things I need to meet right now, basically. And it's slightly different for everybody, but the challenge of bringing it forward and making it number one on the list, the most difficult element, the most challenging element. So, for example, if I haven't done any exercise for 48 hours, I try to do 1 hour of exercise a day. I try. Sometimes I fail. Sometimes I fail terribly. I try to do 1 hour of exercise a day, whether it's jogging, walking, exercise bike, going out on a paddleboard or something. I try to do 1 hour of exercise a day. If I haven't done any exercise for 48 hours, I take the exercise and I make the exercise number one on the next day. So that nothing will happen until the exercise happens. And I sort of force myself to do the one thing that for whatever reason, maybe there hasn't been time, but that's time management, right? Yeah, there's a strong argument for there's no such thing as not enough time. There's only bad time management. Now there's a counter argument to that as well, which is, giving somebody too many jobs and too many tasks to do is not productive, which is also true. But then people need to learn to say no to things. Thank you very much for the offer. I really appreciate it, but no. Thank you very, no, I really respect the fact that you offered this to me. It's a great offer. Thank you. I just can't do it right now. I keep the door open, right? Can't do it right now. So bring it forward always helps, in my experience.